still set up for sewing. You saw the title and thumbnail. We aren't sewing today. We're doing something stupid. But first I gotta clean this up. And I do feel bad doing that, by the way. This jumpsuit only needs a zipper, cuffs, and collar. It'd take me maybe half a day to do. And then I've got a green jumpsuit ready to go. Just, I haven't sewn it. Haven't done much anything recently. After Joliet, I had Endor. They have that bunker. We built one, and it was right here in my garage. The whole area, right? Buddy Rex came, picked it up, took it out. And these are 10-foot tall Jedi pillars that are in the middle of my garage. Can't even get the stupid things in frame. They go from there all the way up to there. Not that you can tell, but they're solid. They're a museum exhibit that needed to be rehomed. A couple of friends of mine at the Chicago Jedi, like, we'll take them. And right now they're trying to figure out the logistics of what they're going to do with them. So until then, they stay here in my way. It's not that big of a deal, really. The minute I have an excuse to not do a thing, I instantly stop. Which is why I haven't sewn, done it. But I have done a couple of interesting things that have led me to a weird rabbit hole to get us to where we are today. So this is my bedroom, or at least part of it. And up here, I have a couple of interesting things. So this is my Final Fantasy homage. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So these are the field models from the original 7. I also have the Turks that haven't been painted yet. But that whole section looked like it was missing something. So I started playing around in Lightwave. And I came up with this. You can't quite see it because it's just a little too low. But there's a sign that says Soldier First Class, which was really neat. And I liked how it turned out. But then I wanted, because I've got this old Sephiroth and Cloud. And Cloud's got the Hardy Daytona. The thing must be almost 20 years old now. And I wanted Sephiroth up. And I'm like, what's up in Final Fantasy VII? And I was like, the Shinra building. He could be standing on top of the Shinra building, which is what he's doing, by the way. But to get it, I had to go down this weird rabbit hole. Because this thing is exceptionally detailed. And the reason it's that detailed is because I ended up getting software to rip assets from the Final Fantasy VII remake. This is a Final Fantasy VII heavy intro for a Final Fantasy 15 thing. In Final Fantasy remake, there's a scene where you're in the Shinra building and then they show the Shinra building and all of Midgar in a model. So I had to go to that part of the asset library, rip the entire building, sort through, I think it was 2,000 some odd files to find the bits and pieces that made up the Shinra building, remodel pretty much everything so it was watertight, and then print it. And it turned out like that, which is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Final Fantasy VII's probably in the top 3 of my favorite video games. 15 is still beyond a shadow of a doubt my favorite Final Fantasy. I love 15. I realized I didn't have anything really from 15 except for a couple action figures. So I decided if I'd already done it with one, might as well do it with another, right? So by this point, months have gone by. I've gotten pretty good at F model, which is the one for 7. And then there's another one for 15. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It's a completely different program, but it gave me access to everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. It's really well built fan editor. So I get all of the engine blade. I've made it fully watertight, and I have printed the whole thing. I think that brings us to where we are now, entertainingly. If I do ever get big enough to have a second channel, the second channel gonna be me building a one-to-one of the Regalia. The Regalia is the vehicle you see them pushing in the game. They drive it around too, and it is an absolute stunning vehicle. A 4-door sedan to be exact, with suicide doors, convertible. Oh my goodness, this car is just, and it's all there. It's all modeled. Like there are hinges and locks, and someone who designed that car absolutely loved what they were doing. Okay, now that we have all of that out of the way, this is my buddy Noctis. And that is his ridiculous sword that we were building. When I say ridiculous, I'm going to show you a couple parts. This is the center hub. Everything gets attached to, right? And it's got this cover that goes on top. And before anybody gets into it and the inevitable statements, this is not my property. I do not work for Square Enix, and I do not feel comfortable handing out STLs of other people's stuff. I know it's weird, but... So, yeah, the answer's already no. There's a cylinder, right? It goes... It sticks out of the thing. I assume this is supposed to be a cylinder head, because it kind of looks like that. Why this weird big arm that holds onto the blade, which we aren't doing today, by the way. The blade, for some reason my printer won't print. It'll print everything else, won't print the blade. It has failed 7 or 8 times. I have tried everything. It just does not want to do it, so we're going to make the blade out of EVA foam. That way, A, it's con safe, and B, I don't have to keep fighting with my printer. So whoever designed this knew just enough about motorcycles to make this almost make sense, right? Because this is a cylinder. That's a cylinder head. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. This is probably just supposed to be front forks, maybe back forks, maybe. I don't know. It's got an exhaust, which goes onto here. This is a transmission, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure this is supposed to be an oil pan because it goes onto there, and these go on there, right? This side is where things start falling apart, and all these have weird vent-like things on them. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, all that detail's modeled in, right? These have them too. But on this side, I have this, which I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. This piece, I got to put everything together for this to know how this all goes together, because that goes to there. This piece goes here. And this goes there. There's another piece that goes right here. Another piece that goes right here that I don't have yet. But looks like that. This side is weird. This side made sense. But it's all getting finished the same. Which is to say, with a light sanding. Most of it's pretty good. The printer may be annoying, but it does a really good job. It's 90 degrees Frankenstein in my part of the world, and my garage is mostly air conditioned. I think we're at 85 here, maybe 80. It's a bit warm. So as much as I love the vest and tie, I'm probably going to lose these two. We'll put them back on in a bit. Since we're on the subject of copyright, I made a bunch of shirts, right? They all have my iconography on them. Right? Red and blue. I may be making a green one soon. And that's not because, I'm like, oh, I need to have my own merch, because I don't. I don't sell these. This is just so I have something to wear that's moisture wicking and comfortable. I don't ever want other people's logos on my stuff, right? If I'm wearing a shirt with a big Green Lantern symbol on it, and DC decides, we don't like that, you're not authorized to use our logo, I am in a world of trouble. So, I've decided to just forego all of that. Because YouTube really is a wild west of just barely skirting the law. I don't want to give anybody any ammunition. So, I only have a couple of shirts. I wear them for me. There's a handful of people around the world who may have these. That's because they're gifts. Don't. I just said everything gets sanded. This is the only one that really needed any sanding, and that's just because it was printed this way. But there are things like right here. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. Zoom with it. But almost all of this can be completely cleaned up with the utility knife, because it's all support material and the bridging for support material. Most of what I'm going to be doing is just taking my utility knife. Doesn't even really need sanding. Honestly, it's this guy here that needs the most work, because he was printed this way, and all of these little shelves got a bit of unruly looking print lines. Everything's getting covered in acetone and glazing putty. It's not going to matter, but the better we make where we start, the easier everything else is going to be. sanded, and I want to put another coat of glazing putty and acetone on. But first, not everything printed perfectly. Like this has got kind of a rough edge. So I want to glue it in place so I can just fill in the rough edge. All of these little round pucks also get a weird cap on top. Now for the glue, I don't use normal glue for my 3D prints. PLA and PETG, I always use PVC cement. PVC cement works fantastic, but like everything else I do, it's highly toxic, and I'll be wearing a respirator. Now this piece in particular has taken a couple of days and a couple of layers of glazing putty to fill in. We are almost there. The reason it's taking so long is I'll put a layer on and then leave it for at least 4 hours, and it's usually overnight, just to make sure that the glazing putty has had time to do everything it's supposed to. I think one more coat and we should be ready, and then we're about to start painting things. Everything's had a couple of coats of glazing putty and acetone. I'm pretty happy with where everything is. I had to fill this section in way more than I wanted to. It was a bad print. I could have reprinted it, but I don't think it would have helped. But since I had to fill everything in, I'm just going to take some masking tape, and I'm starting way farther on this line than I need to, just because that will help me line everything up just a little better. I'm going to use that line right there, to cut my new line. I'm not going to go crazy, because most of it gets completely covered with other pieces. Well, that's a Rockola jukebox I'm working on. I'm going to talk about that, because on YouTube you got to stay in your lane, and my lane is props and costumes. And if I post a video about my restoration of this absolutely stunning jukebox, I get no reach. Slight change of plans. This worked really well last time. I think I'm going to do it again. A little bit of hot glue. We're going to hot glue some cording and hang everything so it's not on a table. So I believe that's everything. Like I said, just a little drop of hot glue. It's only got to hold it in place while we spray paint. So everything's been painted, or everything's been primed. Now we're on to paint, and I'm going to go a little weird here. I'm using a gold and a silver as my base coats, and then I'm going to use like colored chrome or colored clears to go on top of it. Everything's just silver and gold at this point. I'm going to separate everything out, and then we're going to paint. Paint has had time to dry. Enough that I'm okay gluing it, but not enough that I'm okay retaping it. This part here needs to be resprayed because these little circles are supposed to be chrome. I could have waited to glue them on, but I wasn't paying attention. Would have made things a bit easier. So now we're at the point where we're gluing all of this stuff together. And everything has a spot and everything has a slot. And I'll probably pull you in closer so you can see what I'm doing, but I have the respirator on, so you'll have to follow visual clues. Everything has been base painted. We're going to do some weathering in a couple of minutes, but first, all I did was spray the dowel black, by the way. Nothing too intricate. I was going to leather wrap it, but it's a lot of work and I don't feel like it. As far as these caps go and the handle itself, we're just going to use some hot glue. The recess for the handle, ready? Goes in like that much. It's like a good 2.5 inches. So I'm not terribly worried about. The hot glue is more than enough to hold the dowel in place. Yeah, that's pretty secure. Just going to do a little bit of weathering. Luckily this thing doesn't have a lot. We're just going to use a big soft bristly brush, a little black acrylic paint, and some water. I want this pretty thin because most of it's coming off. So just to simulate a little bit of dirt and grime, make all them recesses pop. So, to give you an exact comparison, without any weathering, just a couple of seconds. It's a little different, not much, but it is noticeable. And the more you do it, the more noticeable it becomes. You leave it for a couple of seconds, let it kind of bake in. I'm going to come back with a silver, probably a paint pen. I say probably as if the paint pen isn't floating around here already. So, unweathered, weathered. It gives it just a little more. Character. And do that to both sides, and then I think we're done. So this is my ridiculous engine blade. I'm kind of happy with it. I really like how it looks. It's hard to see on camera. Let's see if we can get it to actually do the thing. Probably not. But I think it looks really neat. I'm having a weird relationship with YouTube at the moment. So YouTube has this, I guess it's an AI. It's their ask thing that creators can click and you can ask it a stupid question. I don't know if I would consider it like Chat GPT level AI. It's more like customer service level AI, right? But it can analyze your channel and try and give you advice. And I went, hey, what kind of content do I produce? And it went, you're a short producer. I'm like, oh, I make long form content, not short, which is why I've been gone for a little bit. I'm trying to do a hard reset on my algorithm. Hopefully get it back to where it was. But with that being said, if you're here and this is your kind of thing, this is the thing you find interesting, I do this kind of stuff often. Maybe think about subscribing. Leave a like. That would definitely help boost my my numbers back to where they were a year ago. Other than that, the next step is going to be the blade, and I'm making it out of... I'm ready to go. EVA foam. I don't normally craft in foam. My printer didn't want to print the blade, which was annoying. But in retrospect, it's probably the best thing because doing this in foam makes it con safe. I can carry it. It'll be much lighter because this thing's not heavy at all. And it'll be nice to have a easy to carry weapon for a change. But if you're curious to see where we're going for that, if not, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you next time.